Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next session of From Nothing, Elle's story. We're going to pick up right where we left off in the early afternoon. It's maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon as Elle and Halden are making their way through the town of Ferrum toward the docks as they're heading to another tavern. So, let me go ahead and switch over to the Ferrum map. And we are immediately joined by a goat noise before anything else. Goodness gracious.
I actually don't hear the music. Oh, there it is. Yep, I see it. I hear it.
As you are heading southward down the main street of Ferrum, if you have any questions or conversations you want to start with Halden, you totally can. But as you're walking, I'd like you to roll me a D100.
Sure. 41.
41. Okay, now please roll me a D4.
1.
Okay. A 41 and a 1. What's your passive perception?
It is 13.
As you're walking, you've just stepped onto like the main street, the main market street, which is cobbled. These round, almost hexagonal cobblestones are pressed together very firmly, and they make a pretty pleasant walking surface. However, you feel your foot slide on one, and then as you do, you look down and you see there is a gold coin on the ground that has made you slip. It slid right over the surface of the cobble.
She'll reach down and just kind of like shove it with a fingernail to see if it's
It
like
slides.
real.
It slides easily on the cobblestone.
Guess it's my lucky day. And she'll pick it up.
You, with your passive perception of 13, as you pick up the coin, you hear, like, it's distant, but you hear someone, like, giggling, and you hear footsteps running. And as you are holding the coin in your hand, it feels not unlike any other gold coin, but just a little heavier.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're holding on to it, it only takes an action to attune to items in Amaranth. And as you're holding onto this coin, you understand what you've just picked up. It is a gold coin, but it is a cursed gold coin. The curse on the coin states, you cannot discard or spend the coin in any way unless you make someone else trip over it.
She'll just laugh at it and stuff it in her pocket.
Halden, who's next to you, like sees this interaction. You slip on a coin, you flick it, and then pick it up, and then chuckle. And he's like, "Are you all right?"
Yeah, I'm fine.
"Oh, okay.
Yep.
Lucky find, a whole ass gold coin."
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Are you like hiding the fact that it's not actually lucky at all?
Yeah.
Okay, roll me a deception, because Halden, like, this is a weird way to act after finding what it's like finding $100 bill on the street.
Yeah.
So he's rolling an insight check. You need to beat a dirty 20.
I rolled a natural one.
Okay. You don't like money.
No, I like money. It's a clever trick. It's actually cursed. So, but it's a harmless curse.
Oh.
Just
What, does it make you
maybe
like
some.
sneeze anytime somebody says your name? Elle?
No, I just.
Elle. Oh.
You're funny.
I try.
No, it's just I can't give it up until I make someone trip on it.
That's the curse?
That's the curse. That's why I laughed. So.
Well, wait, how does the coin know you're going to get somebody to trip on it when you set it down?
Well, maybe I can get someone to trip on it. We'll see.
You want me to
Seems fun.
You want me to trip on it?
Not right now.
Maybe. Well, if the coin knows that you're trying to get somebody to trip on it, it probably has to be you might have to fool them, so it might not even like it if I do it.
Well, you don't like being fooled?
A harmless prank can be just as funny to me as anybody else. But now I know that you're going to try to trip me with it, so I see a gold coin on the ground. What am I going to do? Just slide on it like a nincompoop?
I mean, I just did.
Yep. I said what I said.
Fair enough. I'm not going to try and make you trip on it. And
Okay.
she's going to try deception.
Yeah,
She
okay.
totally is.
Roll a deception.
22.
Okay. Yeah, I figured. And he seems to believe you.
Okay.
Well, lucky find either way. At least it's, it's interesting.
At least it's harmless. If it was some real curse, I'd probably be a little worried.
He considers that for a moment as you're walking and talking, and he says, yeah, if someone needed to put a curse on you, I guess putting it on a gold coin on the ground would be a good way to do it. But you'd have to be careful who picked it up.
That's true.
There's a lot of bad people out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what my uncle told me.
Smart man.
No. But sometimes he had his moments.
Hey, a clock's right twice a day, right?
Why?
Or a broken clock. A broken clock's right twice a day.
Halden seems confused. How? It's broken.
Well, if it's broken at noon, or when the hands are at 12, then it's right at 12, and then at midnight. So it's right.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's not really broken, right? That's just stopped. Broken, I thought meant like,
smashed.
Broken.
I see your point. Anyway, walk and talk.
Yeah, we have been, haven't we?
Have we?
Yeah, you've been walking and talking the whole time.
So
go ahead.
So I've already asked you why, or have I?
Mm-hmm.
Why you came here? To Farron? To Marycard?
Well, I mean, we talked about it a little bit. I was just a farmer, and, I felt the call to be something bigger, better, more, someone that could help people.
Mm-hmm. And why not just your town? Why not help there?
I mean, I started there, obviously, but maybe Maybe we can talk about this when we're not focusing on where our feet are going. Maybe you want to
Oh,
drink in
yeah.
me?
Sure.
Just kind
And
of
she'll
loosens
toss
the
the coin
lips.
in front of his feet.
You, you are a jackass. I'm learning that quickly.
Just a little fun.
Uh,
No harm.
he like pointedly looks at you and steps on the coin and does not slip. And just takes his foot off the coin.
Well,
I
knows what
will
to try.
admit it did try to slide out under my foot. So,
Got a mind of its own.
I guess
Well, I guess
I
it's mine.
I wouldn't. Is it?
Yeah. I can't let go of it.
Oh,
Unless I'm trying.
I thought you were just gonna leave it there.
No.
I don't
And
know. I don't
she'll pick it
understand
up.
magic.
Mm, me neither. Not yet, anyway.
Isn't that your whole job?
Well, it should be, but this uh, this thing just sort of happened. I didn't have any say over it. So,
Huh.
I guess when life throws a punch at you, you just gotta take it or dodge out of the way.
Roll with the punch. That's what Christ would say. Roll with the punch.
Yeah, she would know.
Yeah.
Do you like her?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. She's really pragmatic in
Mm-hmm.
a no nonsense kind of way. And she swears more than anybody I've ever seen in my life, which I didn't expect from, you know, the leader of a holy order, but I guess Viola's okay with that. I don't know. I admit that I might have picked up the habit a little bit, and my mama would scald my mouth with soap if she heard me lately.
Are you gonna turn into a sailor on me?
Nah, I'm not much of a fan of boats. Or do you mean literally
Mm,
just 'cause swear it?
just 'cause swearing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm trying not to. I don't know how Doran feels about curse words.
Maybe you should ask him sometime.
That feels like a pretty petty question. Hey, thanks for everything. I know you're invested in me. How do you feel about the shit word? Just, that probably wouldn't, I don't even think he'd answer.
I don't know, just throw it in at the end of a prayer that's important. Just be like, hey,
Hey, by the
you know?
way, yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll try tagging that on. And if I get smote, well, nice knowing
It
you.
was nice knowing you. Yep.
I don't think Dorn would do that.
It seems too nice.
He is very nice. Halden like looks thoughtful as the two of you are like walking through the market. You're like pressing through the crowds, and at the moment the crowds are not actually that thick. It seems like it's an off hour.
Mm.
2 o'clock in the afternoon is not like particularly busy during a workday.
It's like just after lunch before the workday ends.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's very few people out, and the vendors aren't really trying to pitch their wares at you. It looks like they're taking breaks as well.
Yeah.
Cleaning up their stalls, sweeping, reorganizing their wares. Occasionally, you do see like a vendor look at you hopeful, and then sees the Marigard sigils on your. I think you're wearing a cloak that has it. And that's it.
Yeah. I'm wearing like a pin.
And
Now.
Halden's like bristling in Marigard made armor. So then the vendor's just like, oh, they're just students. They're not going to buy shit. And just goes back to what they're doing. Um, Halden says, as he says, yeah, Dorn is nice, and he's thoughtful about it. He like turns and he says, "What do you know about Dorn?"
She would know a little bit. She probably took a tour past
I
once or
mean, you grew
twice.
up in Taka. You would
Yeah.
know, like, the surface stuff. And if maybe she invested, like, a little of her interest into it, go ahead and roll me a religion check at advantage.
Okay. 13.
Okay. Let me pop this guy. So, you know that Dorn he's neutral good, and he's the god of harvests, farming, and growth. He's almost seen as like a god of the peasants. Um, that being said, you know that Dorn has always valued honesty, growth, and protecting those that need help.
Okay.
You've seen other paladins of Dorn, and they reminded you of paladins of Vion, in that they took their jobs very seriously, but they were much more relaxed, just in general. They had a much more casual and more comfortable presence to be around. But based on their size and training, they did not look like the sort of paladins anybody wanted to fuck with.
What would she say here? Yeah. The ran into a couple paladins of Dorn back home. They were much easier to deal with. Still no nonsense, but at least you could talk to them. And it's kind of important to be able to talk to someone.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I mean, Melisandre is real easy to talk to.
I haven't tried.
You should try it. It's nice.
Well, I mean, I grew up trying to talk to Dorn basically every day out in my...
Well, that would make sense since, you grew up on a farm,
Yep,
I'm assuming.
I sure did.
Yeah.
You try and talk to them every day, and eventually you imagine they probably get tired of hearing you. So I guess the thought of trying to talk to others just didn't really occur to me.
That's fair. I mean, Dorn seems like the deity that wouldn't be annoyed with so many people trying to get his attention.
I don't know. I mean, I was supposed to always be pleased whenever my little brother would hang around, but every day he started to bother me.
I think it comes with the territory when you're a god. You have a lot of people trying to talk to you. It probably requires a lot of patience.
Yeah, probably. I guess I should have that kind of patience, right? If I'm going to be a holy knight or whatever.
It would help, but
He actually laughs. I'll work on that, Adam. You got any advice for me?
yeah, slip on this coin.
You suck.
I'll get someone
Probably.
one day.
No offense, but you kind of look like... Well, you don't look like. You kind of have the pace of a street rat.
I don't know whether to be insulted or... You know what? I'll take it as a compliment.
You
Thank
should.
you.
Means you know how to move on your feet.
Yeah, I do. I've worked hard at it.
There's nothing wrong with being a street rat. Well, aside from the people that get street ratted, they're probably not too happy about it.
No, probably not.
Am I too close? Is that a nail on the head, or am I way off?
You know what? No, you're right on the head.
Well, you can tell me about that, and I'll tell you about me when we have a couple drinks in us, huh?
Or
And as you
yeah.
make your way, like, into the South Docks area, like, Halden seems to be leading the way at this point. He seems to know where he's going. You do see, as you enter, like, this opening in the South Docks where it looks like there's, like, this huge swath where there's no buildings, and that's because there's a cutaway with this big hangar-like structure. And you see it's a dry dock. Literally just building vessels at the moment. And on the far side of it, you see there is a magic shop called the Griffin's Bag. Halden,
Okay.
like, tilts his head towards the Griffin's Bag, the magic shop, and he says, "Saving up for an amulet I saw in there. It's supposed to help me talk to Dorn, so... I mean, maybe sometime you want to check in there and see if there's anything you want. They have all sorts of magic crap, and, you know, that's supposed to be your deal.
Well,
Maybe they can do something about that curse on that coin.
maybe.
Or you could just get
Actually,
the shop owner to trip on it. I don't know.
I think he would be too smart for that. But
Wow, I'm offended.
I mean, come on, you didn't slip on it, so
I almost did. I mean it. It was a close thing.
you weren't even close. I could tell.
You don't know. You don't know. I felt it sliding right underneath my foot.
You're too nice.
I've heard that before.
Let's go get a drink.
You round the corner around the South Docks, and you see, like, once you get out onto the docks and the pier are stretching out in front of you, you've been to docks before, but these docks, unlike Taka's, are big, flat, and they stretch for a long distance. You can see all the other piers from the high docks across the bay in front of Ferrum. You see there is lots of ships that are in the process of, at the moment, loading material. So you see, like, these large overhead cranes that are being run by magical apparatus, or the smaller cranes that are being run by people turning winches, are loading heavy cargo up onto these boats. Which means, as you turn around, you see the ship's stool, a tavern that is pictured to be just a large image of a stool.
Okay.
And beneath it, the open doors to a tavern that does not look particularly busy. That's our place.
Perfect.
I've been told the tender makes his own ale, and he really likes it if you try it.
I will try anything once. Let's go.
You head into the ship stool. Okay. Yeah, that's what I wanted to happen. As you head into the ship stool, it is much, much smaller than the Merry Guard. There are clearly doors on the back wall that are like night stay rooms, but the ship stool itself is only a single level. There is a small stage to the far right inside the building as soon as you enter, and there are a number of tables out of the middle of the open floor. And then there are booths, like Denny's booths, all along the immediate wall that has the window looking out to the bay. And immediately as you enter, you see there's a broad log counter, like bar top, right in front of the doors. There is this big, burly, like black-haired, slightly balding half-orc bartender behind the top. And as the two of you enter, "Oh, you're two's new faces. How can I help you?"
Just two of the house special, I guess. House ale?
His lip quirks up slightly, and he just nods. 2 silver. Unless you want to open a tab.
We'll pay as we go. And she'll look to Halden. I got the first one. And she'll toss him 4 silver.
You have suddenly become no, and the tender puts 2 silver back.
Oh,
They're a silver each. You're good. And he pours out 2 large pints, like 2 big steins of this dark ale from a pitcher that he fills. And as he does, Halden says, "Well, I'd be flattered if I didn't know you were suddenly flush."
I can't even spend it.
Yet.
Sure. Unless you know how to remove a curse.
I don't know how.
Okay.
Maybe eventually I could, but not yet.
Well, until then, I'm keeping it.
Yep. Not like you got a choice. And he like picks up his stein of this very dark ale that smells it smells hoppy, firstly, but it also smells like hazelnut.
Okay. I think she would find that very pleasing.
Halden like gestures, "You want to grab a booth, or are we just sitting at the top?"
Your choice.
Halden looks around, and he slides down the top all the way to the corner, which is nice and secluded. And he just like takes the farthest corner seat.
Okay.
Right at the bar top.
Gotcha. Yeah, she'll go have a seat. It's in, you said, a booth, right?
No, he's at the bar top in the far.
At the bar top?
Yeah, like up against the wall, like right next to the pillar that ends the bar top. So
okay.
You have access to the bartender, but you're in a pretty quiet little spot.
Gotcha. Yeah, she'll it's not like at the corner, it's at the very end.
Right.
So yeah, she'll take the seat next to him, closer to more people. I guess that's the only seat next to him.
Yep.
Right?
He's on the corner, so you don't really have a choice.
Fair enough.
As he like leans against the counter, he takes a long sip, and you can tell from the feel of the stein it's extremely cold, and you just hear Halden just that's good. All right, I'll have to thank Crest for that one.
She'll take a long pull and just kind of like really taste it. Maybe
so it's a very strong ale. This is kind of up for you to decide if she likes it. But it does taste very hazelnutty. It goes down very, very smooth. And while it does smell very hopsy, the hops taste doesn't linger. It's in your mouth while you're drinking it, and then it goes away. There's a hint of bitterness that follows, and then it's just a smooth hazelnut aftertaste.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm a man of my word.
Okay, go for it.
Well, we had I told you I'm from Kona, right?
Yeah.
We had a drought. Bad one. Lasted months. Long enough that all the crop, basically, if it wasn't irrigated, it was done for.
Mm-hmm.
We prayed a lot. And some prayers were answered, but I'm not gonna lie, we all felt pretty abandoned. It got worse when the village elders tried to parlay to Shona for some extra supplies and extra water. Because as soon as we started sending out runners to try and get help, we got raided. Bandits came and took anything they could find. Except a lot of the strongest were out heading to Shona, escorting the runners up the road. I wasn't ever really a soldier or anything, so I didn't have any training, but I felt something when the raiders came. Have you ever tried to use a scythe to, like, hit somebody?
Never.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
awful. They're not meant for hitting people. The angle's all wrong. They feel goofy as hell. But when push comes to shove, it didn't really matter. I felt like I was told to do it. That I needed to defend my family's home and the people that I could. So one day the raiders they weren't in the city. I can't call it a city. They weren't in the village, but they were stalking out in the back fields near my family's farm. And I saw them. I don't think they knew that I saw them, but I did. And we had some wheat that was still high. So I stopped threshing it, got nice and low with the scythe in my hands, and the bandits started moving in toward my family's farm. And I swear I heard Dorn say to wait till they were past me and then come up behind them. And I did. And it worked. Caught them completely by surprise. And they tried to do me in too, but I knew those wheat fields real well. And I knew about the ditch in the middle of it. It was just like a sinkhole that I'd been working around since I was a kid. And it was perfect to duck underneath their swords when they tried to slash at me. And the wheat hid me well enough. So I felt like I was being guided the whole time. Told what to do and how to do it. It was the first time I didn't realize it at the time, but it was the first time I ever killed someone. And I felt terribly guilty about it. So that night, after my family basically praised me and applauded me for killing the man that was trying to kill us, I didn't feel good about it. I still remember the noise he made and what it looked like. But I heard that same voice. Told me to go out to the shrine in the forest behind her farm. Told me I had to get stronger. I had to learn how to wield him. It wasn't so many words. It was more like visions. You know what I mean? Like, I saw pictures and views of wheat fields swaying in the wind and a tree growing where blood had spilled. It was like the sort of sermons you hear that they sound like nonsense when they happen until they're happening to you, and then you feel very, like you can't turn away. So, I told my family about it, and we all knew about the Maryguard, and that they trained paladins. And that it wasn't as far as, like, the Temple of Dorn in Taka. So, that's why I came here.
Story. And she is trying to hide how she feels about a particular part of what he said. Because her thoughts start to wander.
Okay. I guess this would be a deception, as you're trying to hide that.
Yeah, 21.
Okay. I also rolled a 21. So, as you're trying to hide it, he meets it. So, what does he see?
When he talks about the feeling of killing someone and the guilt behind it, she resonates with that so much that she cannot look him in the eye when he speaks like she has been. She would turn to the stein in front of her, just kind of, um, you know, both hands on it.
Yeah.
He would probably see white knuckles as she just kind of like idly runs her thumbs along the lip, just trying to hide the fact that it's affecting her so much. Maybe even a sniff or two, but she would listen. I mean, he could probably see that she's listening.
Yeah. He, like, when he finishes the story, he takes a long swig from his ale. And when he sets the mug down, he sees her having this, not, reaction is the wrong word, just, like, clearly in this emotional state, and he manages to see that she's, like, trying to hide it. He doesn't say anything. He just gently presses a hand on her upper back and gives it a slight rub. And then you hear him, like, lean over the top and say, "Hey, barkeep, can I get a picture of that?" The barkeep just nods, and you hear him fill a pitcher and then slide it down. And this big pewter pitcher of the foamy dark ale slides in front of you, and you hear, because you're not looking up, you hear, like, coin pressed to the table. We want to talk about it?
She'll shake her head and just kind of like shrug out of the comforting, rub.
Yeah, he doesn't like try. He doesn't like try and push it on. It's a brief one.
Yeah.
It seems he does understand.
He would tell that she like tenses up a little bit as he does that. No, it's fine.
Sure.
She'll take a long drink.
Yeah. He doesn't press her. He is like refilling his own mug from the pitcher.
So, I guess a deal's a deal.
Yep.
Yeah. It was. I guess lived on the streets, trying to get by. That's why I was in Melisandre's temple the other night.
Yeah?
Yeah. I
know
owe her a lot.
I know it's a good place to recover.
Yeah.
Where are you from? Can't place your accent.
Taka.
Huh. Yeah, no wonder you know about Dorne.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my daddy used to always say he wanted to go to Taka. A pilgrimage.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of people do that.
We never left Kona, so I didn't think it was ever going to happen. But
you should go sometime.
yeah?
It's an experience, yeah. For the past couple years, I kind of took people around. Kind of showed them the Holy Gardens.
Wow.
For a price, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. try to make it as personalized as I could.
Okay, so, and he like straightens himself up on the bar stool. Where would you have taken me?
Well, probably would have spotted the Dorn symbol.
Oh, is it obvious? It's like a big emblazoned like crest in the middle of his chest.
It could be bigger. That's for sure.
I knew I should have told Sek about that.
Just get the symbol tattooed right on your forehead, and it'll be great.
Perfect idea.
Yeah.
It'd be my first tattoo. I was always considering what I wanted on me. Might as well make it very blatant.
Yeah. Look good on you.
Thanks.
Not really.
Ah.
Face tattoos. No. Just leave.
What if it's a little one?
Okay. They. I guess I have seen people get like beauty mark tattoos, like right under an eye on their cheek. It could look nice.
Yeah, I'm not really a Goliath. I know that's something they do a lot.
Well,
all right, so you know I'm somebody of Dornish persuasion.
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, first, I think I would take you to the more impressive temples, the more popular ones. You know, the ones that everybody likes to see.
With all the fancy embellishments and mosaics and all that.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure I would have oohed and awed and stood there blissfully unaware as people tried to root through my pockets.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to agree with that. Is that real?
Sometimes.
Oof. It's a tough world to be a tourist in.
Well, you know, sometimes you pick a person because you know they have something more than what you have.
That's fair. And if I'm in a position to travel all the way to Taka just to go look at a temple, I probably have enough spare that I wouldn't miss the pockets on my coin purse to be a little bit lighter.
No.
I can't really argue.
But
it's the audacity. It's the audacity.
You know, you take them through a large enough crowd because usually the bigger temples do have a big enough crowd to hide. But it's the stories that you tell that really grab their attention. So, you either come up with some bullshit or you figure out and talk to people and see what stories they have and use them to your advantage.
There's a lot of thought put into this.
A little bit. I worked on it for about a year.
So, why are you here?
That's a story for another time, I think.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to push.
You're fine. But yes, bigger temples first. Take you to some of those statues of the heroes. Tell you a story about them. And then we'd end up going to Dorn's temple. And that's where I'd leave you.
That sounds like a good time. Even though it's clear you're trying to set me up to be robbed. Sounds like it would have been a fun
Well,
experience.
when we got there, I would offer, would you like to buy this gold emblem of Dorn?
You have one?
Well, not on me. Used to. We got good at painting them.
Painted. Oh. Dorn is all very,
Yes.
like, I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen, like, a fancy emblem of Dorn. It's always very aesthetic and made of, like, bark or stone or coal. Coal ones were the
Oh,
worst because they would just dust all over you.
then I would argue gold is of the earth. Why wouldn't it be gold?
I wouldn't argue with you. I'd be like, yeah, I want a gold emblem, and I'd try to buy it from you. And then eventually learn it was painted.
Yes, yes, it would be. 25 gold.
Woo! And how much would they cost you to make?
Maybe a few silver.
You cheeky... You got balls,
Thanks.
I know a few people that would have been unhappy, to say the least.
Well, the thing about pilgriming people is that you probably won't see them again.
Yeah, they won't stick around. It's hard to be a tourist out here.
Yeah. But if you have the money to travel, you more than likely have money to spend.
Yeah, that's true. A ship ticket to Taka is like... It's not cheap.
No,
I think it's like
It's
70
not.
gold right now, which is more than I have.
I think I could have pulled it at a certain point.
Yeah, okay. Well, we didn't all have the knack for lightening other people's pockets there, Elle. All the money I made was just hauling crop.
She just grins.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Honestly, carrying that satchel for the tuition was the most money I'd ever seen in my life.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? The biggest payday I had ever seen from crop was 4 years ago, and that was 38 gold, 8 silver, and 4 copper. And I remember it because I counted that over and over in the wagon on our way back to the farm.
But
The
here's
wagon was
something.
so overloaded by crop that the wheels were creaking the whole way. I thought we were going to break down. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that I'm sure even though times and crops did not yield enough mountains of gold, I'm sure the company of your family was good.
It was.
And money can't buy that. So cheers to that.
I thought that was all part of adventuring, right? Like, you get money so you can buy companionship, so they call it.
I mean, yes. She kind of like makes a face at that because she's like, that's probably not the right choice of words to buy companionship.
Mm-hmm. He seems
but-
blissfully unaware of any alternate meanings.
Yeah, you could buy companionship.
My only concern is, what if you don't get along? And what, do you get your money back? Probably not.
No, most of the time you don't get your money back for that kind of thing. But I think it's better to make friends that you don't buy.
I agree with you.
So,
I mean, what did you think? You saw me hacking at that hobgoblin. Do I hold up to the cut? Am I good enough to travel with old Elle on her adventures?
I don't know.
That's really not the answer I was hoping for.
I'm kidding.
Mm-hmm. He takes a long drink.
No, you own up to the cut. It was good.
Now you're just saying that because I'm pouting.
No.
Well, maybe when I go on my first free agency, maybe I'll hit you up and see if you're free to join me.
Sure. I'd like it.
So long as... I heard Purse sometimes take the matters into his own hands and assigns you somebody. But if I have the choice, and it works out, and Purse says okay, you know, so you're not busy, you know, the whole list of things that could be wrong with it, then it'll work out.
Well, technically, you could say that I selected you first, even though it wasn't a free agency.
That's true, because you did.
Yeah.
Can we talk a minute about how crazy that room was? It was like we were in the icy vestiges. It was frickin' cold. And we could see for miles.
Yeah, it actually kind of felt good.
You can do magic, right? You could do something like that eventually?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Well, if you could, that'd be awesome.
Seems like more of a wizard thing.
What do you mean?
I don't know. To have the smarts to remember how every detail. That was a lot of detail.
I don't know how it works. I imagine it was a memory, right?
Probably. I mean, they even got the wind down.
They did, and it was crazy.
It probably was a memory. I wonder if the contractor survived.
Oh, yeah. They fought the hobgoblins because they failed, right? Like,
yeah. I think a lot of lives were lost, too.
Boy, that got dark.
Just a little bit.
But I think you're probably right. Like, yeah, the hobgoblins had a whole, like, war party.
I wonder if they reconstructed it by taking the memories of all the people that were there.
That sounds intimidating. That they could do that. That would be...
I mean, the more details you have, or the more points of view, the better a memory is going to look.
You're right. And it felt like we were there, so they must have had at least one.
It felt like home.
That
it can get pretty cold.
Wait, that shitty frozen place felt like home?
Well, that's a bit more north than where Taka is, but it can get pretty cold.
Okay, maybe I don't want to go to Taka. I'm not so friendly with cold.
Yeah, just go during the summer months, I guess.
All right. But if I'm freezing my tail off, I'm going to complain at you about it.
She looks back. Does he have a tail?
Yeah, he has a tail.
Oh.
It's a winding, infernal tail that ends in a spinning tip. It's down low by his feet. It's pretty thick at the base. It seems like a tiefling tail.
Well, I don't think you would. I think you would withstand it.
When you look back at his tail, he just like glances over and he says, "You like what you see?"
He just kind of like balks at that and just Takes a drink.
Never had someone so openly just ogle at my tail before. I'm a little flattered.
I didn't even notice. Sorry about that.
No, it gets in the way most of the time. It's fine. Crest constantly tells me I should armor it because it's going to be a weakness in a battle, but I don't like
Put a
weight
dagger
being
in
on it. Attack. Hook one around the spade? Yeah, that might be a trick.
Yeah, just tie some rope around it, swing it around.
Be good practice. I don't use the thing for anything.
On second thought, it might stab an ally. That would not be good.
Yeah, that might be a problem.
Probably. Well. Yeah. That's my story, I guess.
Well, part of it, but I'm happy with the part I got.
Good. Because before that, I was picking buckets.
I knew it. I'm not surprised. Like, you walk like you're looking for a pocket to slice. I swear. I think I saw you glance at my belt like 4 times, just looking for where I had anything. And I don't have much, okay? So...
Don't worry. Those days are behind me. Sort of. Maybe.
I mean, they have a whole rogue course, so clearly those skills are useful.
Yeah, I actually asked Maxwell if I could have the toolkit in addition. And he said no. And that made me sad.
Well, I mean, perhaps if you make some coin on the side, you can always just go buy one from the general store or from Sekka herself.
It's just better to just have one, you know?
Are you against spending money on things you want?
I like money.
Yeah, but it doesn't do you any good if it's just in your pocket.
I think it's the comfort
Of having money?
No, knowing that I'll be okay if something happens.
How much money do you need in your pocket that you feel okay before you start spending any?
I'd say about 25.
That's more money than I had ever, but sure.
Well, 25 isn't going to be a total loss. If
You could buy a whole horse with 25 gold. What do you mean?
Well, it's enough to get you to someplace. Exactly, like you said.
It sure is. What are you expecting to happen that you need a small fortune in your pocket?
There's a lot of things that could happen. I found that it's best to have alternative ways to get out. And most of the ways require money.
Or running.
Or that.
Running's real good. I'm a great runner. Best fight you can ever be is the one you run away from.
But what if you're backed into a corner? What if you can't run?
Well, that's when you hit first, before they're ready for it.
What if the thing that has you cornered isn't something that you can hit?
Well, if you can't fight it, and you can't run from it, you better be damn smooth at talking your way out of trouble.
Yeah.
But I've never been in a fight or a situation that I couldn't run from or sock the guy in the face before it became a real problem. Well, with a couple exceptions, running has always been a good answer in my mind. Until I realize this doesn't sound very paladin-y. Like, if it's a monster, that's different. You're not going to buy off a monster anyway.
No. You're either going to run or you're going to fight it.
Well, most monsters are faster than me anyway. So, fighting is kind of the only option.
Unless it's an ooze or...
Ugh.
I think...
Hate oozes.
What is gelatinous cube, I think.
That's just a big ooze. Yeah, they're fucking awful. They're terrifying.
Yeah.
They're hard to see, and they sneak up on you, and they just dissolve you like sugar and water. It's awful.
Mm-hmm. They're dungeon sweepers.
They're gross. Hate them.
Yeah, they don't sound too good to face.
They don't even, like, how can they think? How do they know what to do? It's just a ball of jelly that eats everything.
I think that's their only purpose, is to eat everything.
So who made them? Because I'd like to punch them in the face.
Well, when you find that person, tell me. I'd like to see it.
Okay. It's a bet.
Sounds good.
They've been around for forever. So someone had to be the first one. Or make the first, whatever. You know what I mean? I don't want to think about how they make more of them.
It was probably Velisco.
Who? Oh, the god Velisco. Say, I thought you knew somebody.
No.
Yeah.
Just seems like something.
Let me tell you, that's a name that my daddy cursed every day of his life.
Well, I think at this point, she would just bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, you can spend as much time with Halden here as you like. Or
yeah,
you can move on with other things, but if you want, we can fast forward to the next day.
Sure. Yeah, I think she would drink that pitcher gone, really properly distract herself with the presence of Alden, and then turn in early.
Okay. As we move on to the next day, then. Let me find my stuff. Okay. Excuse me. All right, so as we proceed on to the next day, do you think, after your conversations with Halden and the distractions, do you think Elle has an easy night's sleep or a rough one?
I can roll for it.
No, this is up to you. I want to know, like, some sensitive topics were brought up, but you also drank a lot, and, you sounded like Elle had a reasonably good time talking to Halden. So it's kind of up to you.
Okay. I think the description that he said of the first guy that he killed, I think that even though she looks like she had a good time, I think when she got back into the room, that would be replaying. But it's her moment, that moment, just replaying over and over again.
Okay, then let's say, give me a wisdom saving throw. The DC's pretty low, but it's there.
I can roll a natural 20, I guess.
Okay, so even though that traumatic memory is playing over and over in your head, when you finally get to sleep with a natural 20, Normally, when that memory plays, you smell the situation, the fire, the burning flesh, the scream. This time, as you lay down for sleep, it feels as if you're remembering the memory almost like it was much longer ago than it normally was. And it is muted with the smell of freshly cut hay and the constant sound of cicadas instead of the horrible screams and the sound of the fire. It feels as though something or someone might be intervening to grant you a peaceful night.
There's I think in her soul, it would be saying, "Thank you."
You don't hear a response,
Hmm.
but whether it is a real intervention or one psychosomatic, I guess that's up for Elle to decide.
Yeah. I think if that happens, then she'll wake up and she'll just kind of go through a morning routine. And like many dreams, it would just fade into the background of trying to live day by day in this moment.
Okay. Unfortunately, that reverie of that morning routine is interrupted as you open your door and Sparks is standing there. And he has a big, wide, fanged grin on his face.
Morning?
Yeah, is it?
Yes.
So, you're the big guy, huh? Uh-huh.
She just rolls her eyes and
Come on, Spill, I saw you at the ship stool. Come on.
let's just go get breakfast.
And you'll tell me all the juicy details?
No.
Oh, come on.
No.
Is he friendly? Is he nice?
Yeah, he's nice.
He would be. He looks like it. All smiles and big, golden, gentle eyes. And he's like nudging at you.
Oh, we're not that friendly. We're not that friendly yet. Stop.
Sparks like frowns. Come on, I'm just messing around.
Yeah, just not in the morning.
Ugh. Just like Erythea. And he turns and like mopes off in the direction of the mess hall.
Yeah, she'll go get breakfast.
Yeah, you do. Let's see how they did. Okay. Breakfast, as you're heading to the mess hall, smells amazing. As you round the corner, the counter is lined with what look like enormous stacks of not pancakes. They're like rolled into like these tubular shapes, and inside them you see are these big, thick sausages. And then there's enormous piles of eggs on the sides of them. And everyone in the mess hall seems pretty cheerful, as the breakfast that's been prepared is remarkable.
Eggs in a blanket.
Yeah, basically. As you go to the counter, you see a person amongst the golems. Which it surprises you because this person has striking yellow eyes and like pale green skin, but it doesn't look like a half-orc. She's much too like refined in appearance. She has like an apron on over what looks like not armor, but like a padded jack. You see this person. She like is completely flat-faced, but as you like get to the counter to get your breakfast, she like turns around the corner with like another platter of eggs and she sets them down. Hello there.
Morning.
Enjoy your breakfast.
Thanks. I'm gonna take a stab at this OOC. You want tea?
Yeah, it's a UNT. A snake person.
Nice.
You see scales up her neck and on her cheeks, which is maybe a little off-putting, but I mean, you've heard of UNT. They're just not common.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, they are prominent on Phobos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. Well done.
Which, thanks. Which is kind of close to Taka, in a way.
Not at all.
No?
Not at all.
Oh, well, there's the reef of creatures.
Yeah, there's the big old barrier in the way there. Like,
yeah, that would not be a good journey to go through, huh?
no. The journey from Terracona to any of the Tridonian Islands is incredibly circuitous, and it's famous because you have to go around, like, Ceres, unless you literally go around the long way, around Aurelia through the Shattered Spine and the Glacial Straits.
So you couldn't go north and then, like, end up on the northern shore of...
You could, up through, like, Peripatea.
Oh.
You could, but that is... They're called the Drake Shores into the Drake Guard area, and it is famously dangerous. It's not as dangerous as the Reef of Creatures. People have made the voyage through the Drake Shores, but it is fraught with white dragons.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, they're hunters.
Yeah, that's the problem, is just if you're going to go sailing north out of Terracona over to Tridon, you would best have a capable crew and weapons ready to fend off white dragons, which is a palpable threat and a tangible one, and there are ways to deal with them, so it's doable. Let me pull you to the world map.
So, like, not out of Redoubt and then up. Okay, you would have to go through the Drake Shores.
100%.
Yeah. Anyway, there is just dangerous as hell.
Yeah,
it's
famously hard to go from Terracona to Tridon, unless you go through Ceres or the long way.
Well, just teleport, I guess.
Yeah, teleporting is an option. That's what that's like the paid services of the Arcaniums, which you would know. There is an Arcanium in Taka, so you'd know about the Arcanium, and you might even have had an excuse to go there for, like, maybe research at some point, but, like, they're not commonly used by the common folk.
Yeah, that's fair.
But for recognizing the UNT are common in Phobos, which is not a detail I've been liberal about, you've earned a point of inspiration.
Thank you.
So this woman, like, sets more breakfast down. She is strikingly attractive in a creepy way.
She just kind of, like, blinks a few times and just says thank you, and she takes a few of the wrapped sausages and takes maybe like a little thing of syrup.
When it's clear you're not talking to her, the UNT goes back into the kitchen to continue her duties, it seems.
All right.
From your breakfast, you gain 12 temporary hit points.
Hey.
There was a natty 20 drop today.
I think the last time was a nat 20 as well, because I got 12 already.
Okay, then Jesus. Oh no, I think that was the Merry Guard meal, wasn't it?
No, it
Oh,
wasn't. It was. It
okay.
was.
They're just rolling really good for you, it seems.
Yep. Like spoiled, I guess. Like, why
Yeah.
didn't I come here sooner? Uh, all
So
right.
you,
Yeah.
you eat
I
breakfast.
think I think the way she'll eat that is take dip it into like a syrup, and then is there brown sugar? I'm sure there's brown sugar.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Syrup, brown sugar, boom.
That sounds amazing. I have made myself hungry, unfortunately. Uh, Thank you for assisting me in
You're welcome.
punishing myself. Uh, all right. So you eat your breakfast. You eventually head to the sorcerer's classroom.
Mhm.
We go ahead
Oh,
and move on to that. And let me pull up my notes for Lorelei's next day. Okay. All right. As you enter the sorcerer's classroom, you do see Erithea is performing some strange somatic gestures with her hands, and you're immediately a little bit repulsed because you watch as she completes a somatic gesture. A spike of blood emerges from her palm, floats in the air in front of her, and then returns to her palm and sinks into it. Uh,
she just kind of like shudders a little bit and takes a seat.
um, as you sit down, Amilla says, "Have no fear. That is has nothing to do with what we and will be focusing on for you today. Your classmate Sparks has performed a similar exercise as to what we are doing right now. Are you prepared to try and explore the origin of your magic and how it can be practical in your day-to-day?"
Sure.
Amilla nods, and suddenly she turns and opens up like the glass case behind her. And from it, she pulls out a few of these like trinkets, and she sets them down in front of you. Each of them looks like a round music box, basically. The sort of thing that like folds out with the lids and then would have whatever jewelry or things that were inside of it, and they would play music in each one. Except as Amilla turns the first one and it opens, music doesn't play, but an illusion does. And you see there is a geometric figure that is like stuttering mid-rotation. Amilla says, "These are spells that failed. Not because the casters were weak, but because they did not listen. Look closely at the illusion, not with your eyes, with your mind." And as she gestures to it, she says, "Your magic is not forged in feeling alone. You've seen it. When it works, it hums. And when it fails, it scratches. It's almost like an irritant to you. Today, you're going to learn how to repair other magical spells. Do you understand?"
No, but I'm willing to learn.
Good enough. Mila like turns and slides the trinket that's projecting these geometric figures towards you. And Amilla says, "Start here. This spell was meant to show the celestial movement of the twin suns. But it skips. Why?" And that question seems like she's expecting you to answer it. So There's a couple ways you can investigate this illusion. You can roll Arcana, you can roll Insight, you can roll Investigation, or you can come up with something that I haven't thought of.
I don't think she would pay too much attention to the rotation of the suns or the you know,
The
the
celestial
position of
bodies.
them. Yeah.
That doesn't matter. What you're looking for is in the illusion. You're trying to figure out why the illusion is failing. There's something wrong with the spell that was cast, and you have to try and like intuit from the way the spell is behaving what went wrong.
Oh, it skips.
Yeah, so like these twin spheres over the trinket are orbiting each other, but they stop and then reset at erratic, weird moments. And it's clear it's not what it's supposed to do.
Is it rotating around like a little mini version of Anth?
No. How? Okay. So they're just. How much do you think Elle pays attention to the sky?
Not at all.
Okay. Then the fact that they are a model of the twin suns, maybe Elle doesn't even care. She's just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, we're just gonna roll here, I guess.
What are you rolling?
Insight, because it's my best one.
Insight.
Yeah, 22.
Okay. Okay. Whoever it was that created this illusion, you intuit through Mechanus. You see the logic behind the magic. You didn't know you could do this. As you're looking at the spell, you suddenly see the imperfection where when the spell was cast, the creator was emotionally in a hurry. They were rushing and they were not paying attention to what the illusion should actually be. So, when they cast the spell, they didn't care. And so, the kind of like how Elle doesn't care now, as these twin suns are trying to spin around each other, one of them is just at the wrong angle. So the illusion can't complete itself. And it's just resetting because it can't make a complete circle because one sun is like 15 degrees off from where it should be in the illusion.
Okay. She sees that and she takes a deep breath. And in her mind's eye, she recognizes the problem, and like when she used to sit there with her father as he worked on clocks and pocket watches and stuff of that mechanical order, that everything had to be in place. Basically, she sees one cog that was hastily put in, and it's actually a little bit off. So in her mind's eye, she just kind of gently pushes it back into place.
Roll me a charisma plus proficiency check. So like persuasion,
Okay.
deception, whatever.
Yeah.
Charisma is the attribute upon which a sorcerer like you affects magic and the world around you. And as you play this memory in your mind, and you alter the gear in your mind, so you said you closed your eyes?
No.
Oh, okay. Then you see like the twin suns in front of you. One of them is like they're orbiting around each other, and then the blue sun, which it's not really indicated in the illusion. They're both just kind of colorless. But the blue sun is the smaller one. You watch as it is like rotating around the bigger one and then resets as your memory replays. As you are remembering this and you alter the gear and push it back into place, you visibly see the blue sun rotate up just a little bit. And then it begins to make its orbit properly and the illusion plays smoothly and gracefully.
She'll kind of half smile.
Well done. You have a knack for this.
Yeah. Thanks.
Of course. Hmm. And Amilla genuinely seems impressed that you immediately did it first try. She closes that trinket, which the illusion vanishes, and she sets it to the side. You do not have to tell me what memory or what device, what mechanism you used. However, in the future, memories that are personal to you are going to be the most effective, especially because they help us organize our thoughts and what we perceive. There will always be frayed spells in the world, and some problems that we find in the world are caused by spells that were improperly cast or rituals that were flawed in their creation. This illusion was created by another student, and they did so, one assumes, in frustration, as they immediately quit upon completing it. They were not one of my students, they were a warlock student, and Elise was kind enough to allow me access to her records, so...
Mm-hmm.
Next.
Okay.
She turns and she pulls another trinket to the side. And as it opens, a floating table made of crystal-like panes. Each of them are hovering in a spiral pattern, and at its center is a droplet of silver water that hangs suspended mid-fall. You see the panes are like pulsing, as if they're trying to do something. And in this case, Emilia looks at the illusion. From what I understand, this illusion was designed to teach cause and consequence. Each pane should respond when the drop strikes the center of the table, but it does not fall. I don't know why. That is for you to find out.
Okay.
So, in this case, you can roll Arcana, Investigation, or Insight.
Okay. So it's a table at the bottom. The drop is trying to fall, but it doesn't hit the table.
So
and there's glass panes around.
Let me describe this. Let me describe this a little better. The illusion shows a flat table. Above the table are these panes that are in a spiral, like a DNA sequence above the table. And there's an opening down the middle of the panes that a silver drop looks like it's supposed to fall through, but it's just hanging above the spiral. And each pane is like pulsing, and every time you see them pulse, it like the silver drop flickers but doesn't move.
Okay. It just needs to move on. I think. And she's like thinking out loud. Uh, she'll look at it and um she's had a hard time moving on from anything, any of her memories, so she doesn't know how to do this.
Is it clear that you're stuck?
Yeah, it's clear
As
that she's stuck.
as you're like focusing on the spiral and like you don't know what to do, Emilia suggests calmly, sometimes we must approach our problems from a different angle.
Right. So she'll think about
The droplet
all.
appears like every time a pain pulses, a specific pain, the droplet moves like a millimeter down and then just resets back to the top. Like it can't move on, like you said.
Yeah. Maybe I can. She'll think about like all the different faces that she saw within the Holy Gardens and how no matter what day she went to the Holy Gardens to work, there was always a new face. So people around her were constantly coming and going, and maybe she can fix the problem like this. That maybe it's maybe the droplet doesn't need to move, it's the glass panes that need to move, and she'll try that.
Okay. So you're gonna try and move the glass panes.
Yes. So
Okay.
the glass panes are moving upward, but the droplet stays. And everything else moves except for that droplet.
Understood. Go ahead and roll. If this is so, you're not rolling an insight to see if you can read it. You're trying to intuit your own solution on the problem. In this case,
Yeah.
roll me a charisma plus proficiency. You're enacting your will on this illusion. Go ahead and roll me a spellcasting check.
Okay. 19.
This solution, as you move the panes of the spiral up. With a 19, the first pane that you move like drifts up towards the droplet, and as soon as it passes the face of the droplet, it doesn't move. Like it stops at the level of the droplet. And then another pane pulses. So, with that 19, you turn and move the pulsing the pulsing pane up. As soon as that pulsing pane passes the droplet, its pulsing stops and it moves up beyond the droplet. And then a different pane pulses as a different part of the spiral. You move that one up and over until the entire spiral of panes has been reordered into another shape of spiral that's gone past the droplet. Once the last pane moves past the droplet, the entire tabletop rises up and the droplet splats onto it. Huh. That was another angle and one I did not think of.
The world keeps moving even though you may be stuck.
Well done. As I said, you have a knack for this.
Another small smile.
She closes that one. The table and the panes vanish. And she sets the final trinket in front of you. And as she opens it, you see that suspended in air is a large, ornate hourglass made of brass and glass that's like cracked. Inside, shimmering dust has begun falling, but instead of descending smoothly, the grains pause and jitter, or reverse course back up into the top dome of the hourglass and flicker out of sync with time itself. And occasionally, the top and bottom chambers overlap, creating like impossible geometry. Milla says, "Time is a rhythm, but magic does not obey clocks. It obeys meaning, particularly that of life. and the chaos that surrounds it. This spell was meant to preserve a perfect moment. But when it was created, its creator was doubtful, and now it cannot decide whether to flow forward, backward, or not at all. You must stabilize it. Give the moment a direction.
All right. She'll look at it. It's chaotic.
So in this case, you can roll Arcana or Insight, or you can come up with your own solution, as you did in the previous one.
Yeah. She'll look at it, and she'll look at the chaos of it, and it doesn't follow a rhythm. And the thing that she can think about right now is it's a little bit silly, and she knows it's a little bit silly, but all music keeps a rhythm and a time. And music also creates memory. So she'll kind of put her hands there and like framing this illusion, and she'll just tap to a rhythm, and that'll be her way of trying to get the sand within the hourglass to keep a steady pace or time.
Okay.
To will it into out of its chaotic nature.
Roll an Insight check for me.
Sure. 17.
As you are tapping, you hear music, and it's not music coming from you. You're tapping into the moment the caster was focusing on in creating this spell. Amila said the creator doubted, but you realize with your tapping, what you hear is the music being replayed in moments back and forth, back and forth. The creator feared the moment would pass, so they trapped it. You believe this spell was intentionally misaligned. The caster was afraid of letting something go.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
No. She stops tapping. It's I think it's intended to be what it is.
Thing.
Well, it seems that this person didn't want it to pass. Like they wanted to be this way so they can remember it forever. So there's no need fixing it. It's already what it's supposed to be.
I understand what you're saying. But the caster did it in discretion. They hid the truth of the spell. So, one might see this as indecision. One might see it as reverence. You have seen through its meaning, but the question is it to hoard it or to honor it?
It's to honor it.
Be careful, Lorelei. Moments are precious, but they are not prisons. One day, one must let even the most important ones fall.
She'll just nod.
She closes that trinket. The hourglass disappears. And as she begins to put them away, I'd like to know what is going on in Lorelei's mind.
She is having a hard time of letting things go. And it's just it's hard. It's hard for her. And she doesn't know if she can do it.
Well, as you are considering this, Amilla has begun she set the trinkets away, and from the glass case, she begins pulling out clocks.
To sum it all up, I think she has a lot of doubt.
Yeah,
right now.
that's fair. As Amilla is setting these clocks on the table, they're all different shapes and sizes. They all kind of look similar to like brass mantle clocks. The one of them is like a small grandfather clock with a pendulum, and as she sets them out, she begins to set them on the table in front of you. And as she does, Amilla says, "I admit you are not going to like this next exercise."
Big sigh.
It is going to be unpleasant, particularly to one of your origin of magic. The plane of Machinus appreciates order and things that have reason and logic behind them. As you are attuned to it, you, too, appreciate these, even if you might not necessarily accept that yourself. These clocks are unique. They are improper. Their mechanisms have been altered. And she begins to turn the winds on every clock. And one by one, they begin to tick and chime improperly. Just a hair off a second, the long way, the short way. The chimes are random every 30 seconds to 33 seconds to 45. They don't make any sense.
Lorelei cringes so hard and just makes a face.
As every clock gets wound and begins to make noise, it's not loud. None of them are loud. But to you, they are resounding. They echo through your very being. These devices that your dad worked so hard to make perfect, all their clockwork and cogs and gears meshing in order to work perfectly every time. These clocks feel like an abomination to you.
Yeah.
To the outside perspective, like to Sparks, it's just tick, 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 and you just look so uncomfortable. Amilla finishes winding the final clock. There are 8 of them in total, and she says, "This is chaos, pretending to be order."
Yeah, you don't fucking say.
Breathe. Your task is, despite this chaos, is you must meditate. You must isolate yourself from the chaos. You must find the one that is correct. Isolate it and align yourself with it. Now, that correctness might be you. It might be your heart that ticks along with Mechanus itself, or it might be one of the clocks. I'm not going to tell you the truth of the matter. But I will say, should you learn to rely on yourself for order, nothing in this world can cast you aside. You must believe in you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she seems a little amused at just how obviously uncomfortable you are. But she presses her hands together, and Amilla, Erithea, Sparks, the rest of the room all becomes muted and fuzzy. The only thing you can focus on are the clocks in front of you. It's as though she's isolated you from the rest of the room. Lorelei, as these 8 clocks tick and chime and resound incorrectly and chaotically, and it's like nails on a chalkboard for you. How do you handle this?
Well, I think she'll just look at each one very intently and just she doesn't know she looks at one and then one pulls her attention because it fucking chimes,
Mm-hmm.
and she's got her hands on the table before them just looking at them, and it's so difficult to concentrate. And she just wants to will them all to stop.
Okay.
That's
how she reacts?
That's how she reacts.
Roll a spellcasting check.
Okay. $23.
With a 23, you will them all to stop. And the frustration, the irritation, just the aggravation that comes out of you comes out like a wave of flame. As it does, it washes towards the clocks, and you see it visibly get stopped by something in front of the clocks. In your peripheral, you see Amilla just shaking her head subtly, but waiting. She hasn't stopped the exercise yet, but it's clear that's not what she was hoping for.
Yeah, not what Lorelei was hoping for either. Her eyes go wide and she stumbles back and onto the floor.
Okay. You are still in this muted, controlled moment, but Amilla does come around behind you, and she crouches down, and muted down, her voice is muted, but you hear her say, "Lorelei, you're right."
She'll just hug her knees to her chest and just even though she stopped all the clocks,
No, she didn't at all.
Didn't? She still hears it. Okay.
The flame was stopped by something in front of the clocks.
So she'll tuck her head into her in between her knees, and her hands will go over her ears as if trying to physically stop the ticking.
When that is the reaction, Amilla, you don't see it because you've tucked your face, but the muting goes away, and one by one you hear each clock begin to stop. And then Amilla crouches down in front of you. I apologize. I did not expect such a strong reaction. It is clear your soul is more attuned to Mechanist than I realized it was. I'm sorry.
Her eyes are closed so tight, and she's just making a face. And
A thing happens that has not happened yet. Amilla reaches forward and gently sets her hand, like, on Elle's shoulder, very gently. And she says, I was impressed at your progress, and I admit I pushed you too far. It is clear the pain of what happened to you still haunts you.
That even though it's so gentle in this moment, her eyes will shoot open.
You see Amilla impressively close to you, but, like, not imploring, basically just, like, waiting. Behind her, you don't see Sparks or Erithea. A magical black curtain is covering the side of the room that you're on. It was definitely not there a moment before.
Yeah. So, like, even the lightest of touch is on her shoulder. She just eyes shoot open, and she'll like shoulder it away, and she'll say, "Don't touch me," and she'll run out.
Amilla doesn't stop you.
And she'll go get fresh air.
Okay. You run out. You go out the front door?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As you run out of the Sorcerer's Classroom, out of the Merryguard Academy, out into the Merryguard front. That is where we will call it for tonight's session.
Ooh.
Thank you for playing with me tonight. That is heavy. I hope you had a good time despite the trauma. To those of you who are at home or at work watching, hi Penn, hi class, hi Emily, hi everybody else. We love you all, and I wish you a good night.